Ever wondered exactly what happens during a sailboat survey? In this video, I'm bringing you along for a survey of a 1989 Beneteau 35S5 that I had under contract. As someone still new to sailing, I was truly impressed by the surveyor's thoroughness as he inspected every system on the boat with incredible detail. Apparently, I had a bit of luck because several people told me that the surveyor I hired is considered one of the best in the field. I wish I could tell you that I'm sharing a complete survey with you, but that's not quite how things unfolded. About halfway through the inspection, I called it quits. I went into this process understanding that a 36-year-old boat is likely to have some issues, so I budgeted about $7,000 for unforeseen repairs, mostly because I knew full well that the rigging needed to be replaced. However, when my rough calculations for the repairs exceeded $20,000, I knew it was time to stop the survey. So, join me for an up-close and personal look at a partial sailboat survey. You'll get a true sense of what the process entails. All right, let's go.
Today is a big day because we put an offer on a boat, and today is the survey. We were actually able to hire Mike Firestone, and from my understanding, he is a very well-respected surveyor in this area. So I'll be meeting him here in about 15 minutes at the boat. And so we're keeping our fingers crossed that the report comes back fairly clean. And if it does come back with anything, we hope it's something big. So I don't wish that for the owner, but I wish it's something, I hope it's something big. It makes it easier to walk away from because we're somewhat invested into this boat. We've already got our down payment. We're gonna have the cost of the haul and hold, the survey, as well as the power wash. So we have a lot of money already invested in this boat, and I just don't want to be on that fringe of having to make a decision whether to move forward or not. So I either hope it's a really clean report or a really bad report. So it'll make my decisions a little bit easier. All right, so I'm gonna film as much of this as I can. I'm not sure how much the surveyor will allow me to record, but I'm gonna try to capture it. I've taken the day off work, so I'll be here all day. All right, let's go.
You know when you can call Billy and talk to him about the boat? Yeah.
After brief introductions, the surveyor took a few baseline photos and asked the broker what he knew about the boat. Then he followed up by asking me if I had any initial concerns. With a full day ahead of us, he didn't waste any time getting started. I wasn't sure what this electrical wire went to, but looking at the bracket, he said this was most likely deck speakers. Throughout the survey, there's a lot of tapping with his hammer. He's sounding the surface to expose any areas of delamination.
This is an area, a shallow void. So when they're building these decks, they got these big molds, and they take the gel coat and they spray the gel coat in, and then they start laying up the structure, whether it's with a chopper gun to start out with a skin coat or actual hand lamination. And they've got to real diligently squeegee out. They squeegee or roll the laminate onto that new gel coat, and if they don't get all the air bubbles out of it, this is what we get. So underneath here is the laminate, and it's okay, you know. And so if you look carefully, where he's done the repairs is outlining the actual shape of the void.
Okay.
Okay, so, and this is a common thing with production boats. You know, it's, we don't see it as much on really high dollar boats as we do on production built boats, but that's what this is. And this is eventually what happens, you know, when that boat comes out of the mold, it looks perfect, right? And then when people start stepping on it and the boat moves, you know, this real shallow void, this glass, the gel coat starts flexing, and that's where we call this breakout. And so it's a cosmetic deal. Don't be too freaked out about it. And you're gonna see that there's quite a few of them on.
I did.
So far,
they're mirrored on each side.
Yeah, so far that's what I'm seeing.
Okay.
And
did you hear anything around that pedestal? Because wasn't it you telling me they did some repairs around the pedestal?
Not real, you know, again, maybe a little bit right here, but
I don't know what extent. It's on one of the work orders from the yard.
Again, we have some kind of maybe little voids right here. This sole is kind of unusual in that it's got this unevenness to it.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever seen that before. Here's a void where they haven't done the repair, but that's kind of what the breakout looks like versus that. You know, in this situation, I would probably pull this off, and then you're going to have a cross-section. You're going to be looking at a cross-section of the deck, and you're probably going to see balsa core cut better initially. And I think when they changed this roller furler out, there was not enough room for clearance. And I think somebody got in there and modified this.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
Because
right.
it probably had a different furler,
Yeah,
maybe a bigger drum on it. This is more like profile.
I think it probably, you know, if my memory serves me right, I think it had one of those low profile hood line drive ones, you know, with the endless loop.
Oh yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah.
And the drum is real small on those.
Okay.
Real short. So it was down further. Because when you go sailing, look what happens. You know,
It's pumping up against it.
This new drum probably made contact here.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, we got to do something about that. Yeah. Yeah, there's 4 bolts here.
They're in line with that anchor. Does that have anything to do with it?
Pad eyes or fairleads for the furler was maybe running the other side on the starboard instead of port before.
There's a 4 foot of chain. And see the locker drains right there, that there's a hole through the port side there on the port side.
Yeah. So it's missing a little vent cover or whatever they do.
Yeah, a little clamshell vent.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can come up with something that's but it's not necessary because you have a pretty generous drain down there, and look how the line has chafed into the sheave that's not moving. See that sheave's not moving? It's just burning through the sheave for the bow rail here is cracked open. These cast aluminum fittings kind of known for that.
Okay.
Yeah. They kind of make they're like the American version, you know, of say Lumar, you know, that makes all kinds of products. And they do the same thing. They make steering systems for French boats, stuff like this. You know, Beneteau being such a popular boat, if you get on the internet, you'll find, you know, owners groups.
Okay.
And those guys are usually dialed in to where to find parts. Maybe a little deeper than your average one. Yeah, these are always a challenge. Sexy, French, crazy. That really feels like a void though. Because, you know, I can feel firmness underneath that.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a bottom to it. So I'm pretty sure that that's not a really big deal. You know, that's something that can be lived with right there. I may be able to get to that from in. Small areas.
There was moisture readings everywhere, so I stopped recording it at this point.
turn some stuff on here. Sailing instruments, autopilot.
You'll notice a rag in the broker's hand because he's trying to mop up the water that is leaking on the sole while the surveyor's testing the batteries.
This black oil is pretty typical of a diesel engine. We really change the oil based on time. It's not too. It's actually not too ugly looking, really. Yeah. And this is the decompression lever
The
right
handle
here.
for that is actually in that locker.
And so what you do is you open the decompression lever, turn the key on, and you start cranking it, spinning it real fast. And as you're doing that, you flip that close, and it'll go boom, 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 and start up. You kind of have to jump around to get access to this dude into the aft cabin. One of the common problems we have on these Beneteaus is that the seacocks that they use are some weird French alloy that's not really suitable for marine use, but that's a replacement. That's a US built seacock, and I'm okay with that. And you push this handle over to where it says water, and you open here, and here comes the water. Yeah, see? It takes a minute for it to and it's going into the holding tank. Oh, it's leaking out of the Y valve big time. And they just got in here and kind of hacked away. Oh well. Some cutting here. You know, this area is an area of suspect. They probably have a leak here they were dealing with. Circuit breaker switch is broken. It's in the on position there, you can see. Cabin outlets, main cabin outlets, and then air conditioner. So this is a retrofit also. This is not original. Yeah. As is the DC panel. These aren't original panels.
Okay.
So that's nice. The seacock is open down there, and then you open this one to bring water to the engine. I don't love that, but it's, you know, it's okay.
It's okay until you forget it.
What's that?
It's okay until you forget to open it.
Yeah, there's the prop shaft seal right there,
Okay.
right here. And this is a Volvo Penta prop shaft seal.
Yeah, it's leaking bad.
And
When you were turning, it was a continuous flow.
yeah. So that's probably gonna there's not an adjustment. I'm going to try to, well, just going to try to encourage you to start her.
Okay.
Yeah. Their auto helm, which is the forerunner
Christi.
to Ray Marine.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised they're even still working.
I think the early 90s.
This is the newest piece of
late-
electronics on the boat.
Yeah. And what about the GPS?
No, that does work if you.
Oh, did I turn it off? Oh,
Yeah. How's it going? What's going on? How are you?
Jim had cleaned the bottom the week before, which is why it looks so good. Plus, it saved me the cost of the power wash. It's hard to see in the video, but the bottom paint is thin, especially on the keel, and the surveyor recommended a new bottom at the end of this season.
So, like running down through here, that's, and feel like. So we've got, I'm pretty sure we've got water that's gained entrance in here most of the length of the rudder through here on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, sounds.
So there's it's got a foam core. And we'll kind of see when we go out on the sea trial if that bothers us or not. But that's a moderately worn bearing there. Getting over here to the propeller, this is a Gory geared folding two-blade propeller, which is an upgrade from the old propellers because it's got these gears in it, so it meshes better. And there's not a lot of excessive wear on the bearing surfaces, so I think the moderately worn, you know, it just gets worn from the friction, and because it's just water lubricated, water cooled, and I'd call that moderate wear. So at some point in the future, you're going to have to replace that. That cutlass bearing. These sacrificial anodes really are getting close to needing to be replaced. When they're 50% wasted, we like to see them. It's kind of like a watermelon. Yeah. And you got two more right there. You've got about 7 or 8 of them. And cast iron is an okay material. It's not the top of the line. You know, lead is preferred for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is it doesn't rust, and the rust presents a lot of problems to the applicator of the paint. To really do this right, you have to totally strip that to bare metal, bright bare metal, and then immediately clean it and immediately go on with your your barrier coatings, your epoxy barrier primers and epoxy barrier coatings, because the paint won't stick to just the metal.
Okay.
It'll just come right off. So it adds a little bit of work. The joint line here looks nice and tight, you know, pushing on that, and nothing is flexing. My meter is responding to the moisture, and I'll be able to tell you what it is when I get up in there and start pushing it down. And this through-hull fitting's got to be replaced. It's the air conditioner cooling water discharge. And I've seen these things get like this, and then they break off and the hose falls down and fills the boat. And if I'm not mistaken, so we need to...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were trying to
okay.
get twisted.
In soft turns, you know, this is going from the toilet to the holding tank.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're careful and really pump the toilet 20 times or whatever, you know, that's the vent for the holding tank that is disconnected. Filter in it, overboard discharge. It's not a connection.
Yep.
Phew. What is all this? Yeah, it's just it got slammed real hard or something.
I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
After the haul out, the excitement of the boat started to dwindle. Things only got worse during the sea trial. There were a handful of issues, which included the strong smell of diesel coming from the cabin. I lost all hope when we found diesel and water in the bilge. I had seen enough, and I asked Mike if there was any reason to continue because I had no intention of moving forward with the purchase. Mike wanted me to make the right decision, and he had no idea of the sale price, but offered to show me the comps for this year, make, and model of the boat. I was surprised that I was in line with my offer, although I was hopeful that I had negotiated a great deal, which turned out to be wrong. Mike explained that his comps were for boats that were actually sold and not the value someone is asking on Yacht World or Facebook. Knowing how much the boat was worth helped me understand that no matter how much money I spent to fix the issues, the value would not change, and it was already at the point of diminishing returns. I thought I had got a good deal because when the owner accepted the original offer, the broker was adamant that there would be no further negotiation after the survey. I truly wish I would have recorded more of the sea trial, but it was a fiasco with a chain of issues that required the three of us to work together just to get the boat back into the slip. There were other issues I didn't record, like the broken main winch, a prop shaft vibration at RPMs under 2300, the compass was missing all the internal oil, and there was a couple seized seacocks, plus a handful of minor maintenance concerns. And don't forget, the survey was only 60% complete, so I'm sure there were likely to be other items. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Were my expectations too high, or would you have walked away too? Thanks for watching to the end and following my unfiltered journey one adventure at a time. Join me next week for a video that includes snippets from the last 3 or 4 Wednesday night races. If you like this video, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Your engagement really helps the algorithm show my videos to a broader audience. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.